Nailed it.
So, hey, I'm Bob.
I'm Jake.
And we are
Nailed It, the podcast. In a new setting, or kind of.
Old studio, new look.
Yeah. New year, new look,
New us.
No, same us.
Same us. That's right. Yeah. New year, same us.
We got
we like to be different.
all the little upgrades, the table, the little logo with the microphone with the little stickers on them. Look at that.
I can't pinch and zoom here for you folks.
Yeah. You can pinch and zoom on Spotify.
That's right.
So right now, zoom in on this. Look how cool that is.
Yeah. And for those of you who are just listening to the audio, what Jake's referring to is many of you may notice our fancy new logo online if you're on our Facebook, which isn't super fancy. It is new. It's a cleaned up version of what we were using. And now that I am able to make in-house stickers, I went ahead and branded our microphones and things here in the studio. So like I said, new look, what people can't see. We would really encourage you to go to the video, go to YouTube or Spotify, watch the video. You can see all the changes in what we did in the studio here with our backdrop and just what we're doing. Trying to make things a little nicer for recording, a little nicer when we have guests in here and not lounging on the couch like we're trying to go to sleep.
I know, right? I do have to say there's been many a times that sitting on this couch that I've started to nod off.
It was
a very comfy couch.
The couch has been removed from the studio, and we are here doing it like a real podcast.
Yeah,
desk.
We're professionals,
amateur professionals. So here we are, season 4, episode 1.
Yeah,
it's 2026. We made it to a 4th season, buddy.
This is so like we've talked about this off camera about like how it seems like we just started doing this show.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it's been. I mean, in essence, 3 years since we started.
Yeah, and like because it's always just us getting together and just kind of shooting the shit and whatever. Yeah, it's weird that it feels weird that we're going into a 4th year doing the show.
I agree. I'm not sure how we lasted this long.
Because it's just us talking.
Well, and to be fair, it's our the way we're scheduled and things. Sometimes it's tight to get in, and it's not like we live right down the street from each other. Not like it's not out of the way for you to come to the studio. But, I think we've kept going because we want to.
Yeah.
And now we're doing it because we have to.
Yeah.
4th season, my God, we can't stop now.
I know, right?
We did good last year. We were able to get 12 episodes in. They weren't always once a month like we wanted, but we got the count where we wanted. And
we met the quota.
We met our personal goal for that. And we will do that again this year for no problem, I'm sure. Maybe even extra ones. Just some things. A lot of things we were going to format changes as I posted on Facebook today. We're going to start doing a little more streamlining with how we do this, when we do this. We talked today about a much more robust guest list if we can get that going, have more people on, whether it's through Zoom or whatever it's called these days, online podcasting, or we have them in the studio, which I always prefer, and things like that. I think we tend to go on rants a lot,
so just a little bit,
and that's our thing. Don't get me wrong; I don't think it's going to stop, but we're a little unfocused sometimes, undisciplined, as they say, and that can be great in certain aspects, but you got to change things up once in a while. Keep it light, keep it moving, or keep it deep if that's where we have to get. So,
phrasing.
Yeah, nothing crazy. But as we always have done, after we get in here and tell everybody who we are, we always kind of give an idea of what's going on, a little housekeeping, what's been happening for us individually as well as our bands together. What do you got personal that wasn't Ghostlight Radio Show related since we last talked, since the beginning of the year, really?
What was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago now? I think it's been since Listexia was in the WITF studios in Harrisburg.
Right.
We did a filming for WITF Music. That was a really cool experience. I have some buddies that have been on the show, different bands that I know they've done segments and stuff on the show, and we got hooked up with them, and we were there to, do our thing. Got there. It was a neat experience because it felt almost like kind of like you were doing like an MTV Unplugged kind of deal. You showed up, you're in a room, you're all put in a circle, and you're all given individual mix and things like that. They have you perform 2 songs, they film it, they record it, they do photography while you guys are playing.
Real fancy.
Yeah. And then after the 2 performances, they strike everything, take out all the mics and everything down. We tear the drums and everyone's guitars down. And then they set up the same room with, however many members are in the band. For us, there's 5 chairs, and then another guy who does the interviews, and he does a whole 45-minute interview with us talking about, how the band came about and, influences and all kinds of different questions. Their turnaround for the episode is about 2 months for, for everything they do. They
Production, really.
Yeah, they mix and master everything. They edit all the footage. They've edited all the photos. And then once it's all ready to go, it gets sent off to us for approval. And then it'll get, on YouTube, and we'll get a little EP, quote unquote EP, to release on the Listexia page of like the WITF sessions. And it's live performances of 2 of our songs.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was a neat experience. It was really cool to do it. I can't wait to see the finished product. So yeah, there was that coming up this Saturday, weather permitting. I have a ring announcing gig with Three Legacies Wrestling over in Lancaster for their show Light Within over at Brightside Opportunity Center. This will be my first full public show. I've done the student showcases with the school, and I did one match at their public show in Harrisburg, but this will be my first start to finish show doing every match. So that'll be a lot of fun. Got all the info that I got to write down and make sure I have my cue cards ready and make sure I announce everyone correctly.
Yes. And we should point out that you do, in fact, although I gave you a little razzing about this last weekend, you do, in fact, have merchandise for Jack Rocket.
I do. I now have Jack Rocket merchandise. I've got T-shirts. I've got hats. I'm working on crewneck sweatshirts. I've got coloring pages for the kids. I've got 8x10s. You name it, I'll make it. Like Jack Rocket merch. Hit me up at JackRocket_3LW on Instagram for information. Instagram, Jack Rocket, that's ROCKIT_3LW. And hit me up if you're interested in merch. Always got to promote.
Fair enough. You know a guy who can do some stickers too.
Oh, so. I do. I know a sticker guy now.
Yeah. So, well, that's cool. Anything else outside of Ghostlight?
I mean, you and I have been writing some tunes.
We have, in fact, made some progress on that. I had hoped to make more progress in the last couple of weeks, but since I couldn't stay healthy enough to sing a tune, I couldn't really record any demo vocals. But after our show last weekend, I feel a lot more confident where my voice is. It's the first it's sounded good since December. So since the beginning of December when I got sick for 2 weeks. So that's exciting. We got some real stuff.
We have 3 songs in the works?
3 and one about a campground that we were supposed to finish 2 years ago. Technically 4. 3 that sound like a certain style and one that sounds like a country tune, which is fun.
Something that is completely different from the rest.
That's for them. Yeah, so that's exciting. I don't know what that's going to be for us. I don't know where it's going to entail, but I mean, we've talked about it many times on the show. You've been writing for yourself outside of your band stuff for a long time.
Yeah.
But me, it's been a while since I did any original work with anybody. So I really got jazzed up when we actually were able to get some kind of progress.
Yeah.
With lyrics that I've been sitting on for, in fact, one of the songs is an original I wrote in my first band.
Yeah.
And we recorded it, and the album's terrible. We were terrible, but I always thought I could do something more with that song.
Yeah.
So I dug those lyrics back out, and we're going to do something more with that song. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Isn't that a neat feeling to like go and dig an old idea you had to try and bring it to something new?
I agree with that sentiment with this song.
Yeah.
But that sent me down the rabbit hole of looking at my files of all my old lyrics. Yeah, no, none of those are ever, wow, I don't know where I was in my life. I do know where I was in my life, but I don't know what made me think I could write songs because they're bad.
I feel the same way because not too terribly long ago, I went back and re-listened to the album I put out in, what was that, 2021, 2020-ish?
So long ago.
But same thing. I was like, where was I, in my head and, with the way I would write. There was some that I was like, I don't fully hate that. There's some that I can't stand to listen to, but
I know exactly where I was, where my mental state was and where I was in my head then. And I understand what I wrote, but I don't understand why I wrote it that way and why it's so third grade.
Yeah.
Maybe because I'd never tried to write songs before in my life.
Yeah.
That was 25 years ago now.
Okay.
I mean, it was a long time. You were a wee toddler in diapers still.
Little guy.
I was a very angry man for a while. A lot of anger. It was also right around 9/11. I had a whole song I wrote about that, like everybody did at the time.
Yeah.
That will never see the light of day. Not because it wasn't, I needed to get off my chest like a lot of people did then, but it's not something that needs to be put to music, But
yeah.
I was very new metal and rap rocky then too. So it's a lot of rap writing and not lyrical writing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not. We've talked about my problem with writing before. I write in long form because that's how rappers do it. They can talk all day and still fit the beat, and you can't do that with a rock song. You have to shorten it. So it's a lot of that. Anyway, it's not stuff we're gonna go to. I got one gem out of the rough, I think, and that's gonna be worth something to me. To be able to work on it again. And I think we got something good for him. So
yeah,
we're getting there.
Yeah, we'll keep you guys updated with project.
We'll probably debut some of that stuff. I'm thinking we get it done. There might be a chance to debut clips of that on a show before we release them to the public.
Yeah, absolutely.
If the numbers are driven by viewership and listenership, maybe we'll start by releasing it on the podcast before we release it on, Spotify and streaming services.
Yeah.
But we have to finish songs first.
Yeah, we have to actually have full songs.
As the old folks say, do not put the cart in front of the horse. God, I'm old. So yeah, we got that going on. I haven't had much going on outside of Ghostlight shows, which we didn't have a ton of to begin with this year. We had 3 shows, which became 2.
Yeah.
Thanks to the snowpocalypse last week, we lost a show, but we only had 2 gigs this year in Ghostlight.
Yeah.
I did have back at the beginning of the year, I had a tribute show. I had Next to Nothing
show.
Oh,
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, back on the first Friday, on the 2nd, I did a show with my Breaking Benjamin tribute, Next to Nothing, and we split the night, sort of co-headline. I don't want to say split the night. We co-headline with our friends in Y2 Kids. They did Linkin Park, and our friend and mutual bandmate Dave, his Disturbed tribute band, Stricken, started the night off to the short set, which is nice of them. They didn't need to do that. They just came up and checked out the new club. We did a Captain City Music Hall. The place is cool. We were in the downstairs, like the basement bar or club, which I like that vibe. I like a smaller. Yeah. Do I want to play the big stage? Sure. Maybe someday. But that went really well for a bunch of guys who don't practice and play once, maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
It was a pretty killer set. We had a really good time. So shout out to those guys for staying on top of it while, we don't play. Obviously, Jimmy's in that band with us, our drummer, Jimmy. Tim from Lyndhurst is the bass player. They're obviously both playing regular like we are. But Donnie, my guitar player, and Craig, our other guitar player, Craig doesn't play at all except when Next to Nothing plays. Donnie only plays when Fell From Zero plays.
Yeah.
Besides, ripping it at home, those guys don't get out much. For them, it's a whole nother level, and they keep it together. They're all good musicians, good times. So looking forward to trying to work on some other stuff for the rest of the year that we can maybe get out more than once and do that Breaking Benjamin thing, because we do have a good time. People seem to enjoy it. So
I enjoy it. So I've seen Next to Nothing play once, and I enjoyed it.
We put the work in, man. There was a point we were playing 3 hours of Breaking Benjamin. And that's a lot.
That's a lot.
Breaking Benjamin doesn't play 3 hours of Breaking Benjamin.
Yeah. Craig and I are still trying to figure out somehow to bring the Green Day tribute band out. We've had an opportunity or two, but due to scheduling, we couldn't make it happen. But
busy band schedules and stuff.
We'll make it work. We'll try it. I told them at the beginning of the year that is a goal, is to get that band out this year.
Well, you'll get it if you want it, if you find it. It's out there. So other than that, yeah, I had a solo gig, which, the falls, I'm always having a falls gig, always a good time.
Yeah.
And other than the aforementioned struggles with my voice on certain notes, as you know, I do like to sing me some outfield. And
oh, yeah.
Even our show at the duo show we did at Westgate Unlimited, which was a great time.
Oh, yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I have been struggling to hit those notes. And I was a little worried last weekend when we played. Well, it was all right at the casino too, but yeah, I got sick again in between there.
Oh,
and I was worried last weekend at Red Pin that I wasn't going to be able to hit it. And it was strong all the way through, and my voice felt good all night, and it's felt good since. Not that I've been singing.
And, I had a similar situation because we did our last show, to end our year back in 2025 at Burning Bridge. And you remember I lost my voice by the end of the show, like completely. So doing like Pink Pony Club, from that night, I have not been able to sing it in that key, which is why I brought it up about like, hey, we got to bring that down.
Yeah, I had a bit of concern with, and actually shout out to my wife, who pays more attention than people probably give her credit for, because she's quote unquote not a musician. She's always paying attention. She said, she was concerned that maybe my voice was not recovering like it used to, and which made me a little paranoid. I never really had to worry about that. I just think I was just too under the weather for it to heal all the way.
Yeah.
But I feel like after last week, and I feel good about it. So
yeah,
good there. So that's good. That's a positive note for, somebody who sings a lot. I kind of need to be able to sing.
Yeah.
I can't fall back on my guitar playing. So that's not a thing. And I stepped up on my vocal warm-ups a good bit. I had been a little lax for those. I know anybody who knows that lifestyle will probably be thumbing their nose at me. I wasn't warming up as long or as much as I should be. And I went back to that to try and get my voice back, doing some breathing exercises at home to increase your diaphragm, all the stuff I was taught that I just thought, well, I'm good with it now. I forget sometimes how much autopilot Ghostlight is. Singing those songs, I don't have to work as hard, but if I'm sick, I need to work hard. I also need to treat my voice like an instrument, and I was getting lazy. It had to be corrected, and maybe that helped too. So staying back on that. You know, some people go to the gym in the new year. I reset myself to get my voice back to where it needs to be. So
yeah,
I'm not getting younger. My voice isn't going to get stronger.
Yeah.
You know, I got to be careful with what I have. So
that was like also why I started going back to the gym, because I wanted it as a additional like aid to singing.
Right.
Because, you know, like, yes, I've always been kind of like into lifting, but this time around I'm focusing a lot more on the cardio side of things to help with vocals. Because like I said, this morning I was up out of bed 5 a.m. and in the gym by 5:30, and then
sorry, folks. Sorry if anybody's triggered by that noise.
For hour and a half was just running on the bike, just working on breathing, just so I could build up having the strength to sing again. Because I know I've noticed before that's one thing that I don't have like I used to.
Right.
But that's also because I love cheeseburgers. But
I love cheese.
But yeah, no, working on, you know, the vocal thing, just like you are.
Well, I know what I need to do to stay there. And again, I got such autopilot with doing the same thing all the time and being comfortable in that singing range that I let it get away from me a little bit, and probably didn't help where I was feeling health wise. It's back where it needs to be.
Yeah,
I feel good about it. I just got to keep it there. So, yeah. Other than that, I didn't have a whole lot different going on since the year started. So just pushing into our schedule. We're get through this miserably cold weather, and we're back into playing a good bit. So
and just wait one more month, and we start Bay gigs again.
Yes, so close.
I'm counting down the weekends.
Yep. It might still be a little cold when we start.
I don't care.
But we're starting. So
we played there in January. It's worth it.
Yeah, I know. So I'd like to, what we're going to start doing with this new focus, you and I have been talking a good bit about this, especially today. I think we're going to start trying to, whether it's a guest or just a main topic, I think we're going to start getting into a little more heady stuff, if you will, a little more meaningful things that it comes to our industry and what we like to do. Yeah, sure, we do a ton of other things, obviously, but music is our main jam.
That's our bread and butter right there.
So, and I had proposed to you that we have a discussion about a topic that has always been a topic. This has been a topic since I started 25 years ago, and it continues to be. And the reason it came back into my radar, our good friend Dave Gates of Dave Gates Music, and of course the Solo Musician Podcast.
Shout out Dave
CPMA
Gates.
2025 winner for Best Podcast. He had posted a question on his music page, and I have it here word for word. I don't want to paraphrase anyway.
I'm so glad you did this because I was trying to remember it word for word when I asked you to send it to me.
Well, I wanted to have this because I did respond to it. I had a response, which I'll repeat here, and there was quite a few responses after that. A lot of people make a lot of good points, but I want to kind of go over our point. Maybe our listeners will be able to chime in later after the episode. But what I have here, and this again is from Dave Gates Music on Facebook. You can find him. Good guy. We've mentioned him before. He says, quote, "I have a question for my fellow musicians and music lovers. In an effort to understand musician minority versus majority views, as well as gain knowledge on how music consumers feel, I want to know how and why people feel the way they do about original music performance versus covers." That's the first part of it. So that's something to hang on to, because musicians obviously have a different viewpoint than the average consumer, the music goer.
Yeah.
So, and that will also judge what they think about cover versus original. But he says, quote, specifically, musicians. Some musicians feel that performers that don't play only original music are stealing gigs from musicians that play their own music. Their argument seems to be that if venues stop booking cover artists, there will be more gigs for original artists. How do you personally see this issue? And for music lovers, when you go out to hear music, what do you expect to hear? How often do you request originals? Can you provide any further insight into this? Like I said, there was a lot of response to this from mostly musicians, but just some of his fans as well. I will tell you, I can give you what my opinion on it was and what I posted, but I'd like to hear yours, since this is a newer topic for us to cover.
So the first part of it, with some musicians feel that performers that don't play only original music are stealing gigs from the musicians that play their own music. That to me is 100% false. If bands are, like, for example, Ghost Light Radio Show. If we're booked in New Holland Legion, they're not going to book Listexia. They're two very different things. It's two very different vibes to it. And we're not stealing the gig from another band. We're filling the need for what the venue wants. If the venue wants a metal band, they can go reach out and get a metal band.
Agreed.
But if the venue wants a band that will play music that people are going to get up and dance to, have a good time to, they want to, and especially with like the older crowds, they want to hear songs they know. And I look at that from not so much the musician side of things, but more, I guess when I think of it as more of like a business standpoint from the owner of the venue.
Right.
If I'm running a bar and I want to see people having a good time up and dancing, I'm going to see, you know, what do they want to hear? Do they want to hear songs they know? Do they want to hear something new? And it's all in the selection of the venue, not so much the band, if that makes sense.
Right. Agreed. No, it's a business first. Sure.
Yeah. I mean, I'm going to start to sound like repetitive of it. It's cover bands are not stealing gigs from original bands. They're fitting the need versus the original scene fitting what is asked of them, if that makes sense.
No, I agree. And I think I 100% agree with you because I've dealt with this for my whole career. I got in some pretty ugly arguments with original guys who basically said more or less, you and your whole bands are talentless pieces of shit because you don't play your own music. And I let that get to me for a long time in my early years, a lot. I let it bother me. I was told by a guy who I respected in the scene at the time, who did have original music at all, but mostly played covers. His band was mostly doing, at the time, like hard rock. This is early 2000s, your Godsmack, that kind of stuff. But they had some original stuff too, but he'd been doing it a long time. And this turned into another argument on back then on MySpace. Turned into another argument, and then he and I were discussing it. And he said to me one day, and I'm paraphrasing this because it's been a long time, but I mean, I never forgot the words, the meaning of what he said, that those guys are up there for 45 minutes singing their heart out to something they wrote to sound like them, to sound like their band, and hope that people like their band. We're up there for 3 hours trying to sound like, and sometimes 30 different singers in one night to entertain everyone because they all know these songs or most of them. So to say that a cover band has no talent because they're not playing their own songs is not only false, but irresponsible. I never really thought about that until he brought it up to me that way. And then it made all the sense in the world that, yeah, I am up there. We are, as the band, are up there playing someone else's songs because we want to entertain people.
Yeah.
And we're doing our best to sound just like the song goes. I've played originals. I have originals and Fell From Zero. We talked about this earlier. We're writing some stuff. I mean, I've done some over the years, very few. And we filter them in and they fit the genre, but they're not, you hope that people like them.
Yeah.
And if that's what you're writing them for, it's coming from a guy who's not deeply entrenched in the original writing. But if you're, excuse me, got the frogs. If you're writing songs just with the hope that people like them and not for yourself, then I think you're doing the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Then you might as well play cover songs.
Yeah.
Because for me, I play cover music. I've been in cover bands, one, because I'm not a prolific or good writer, but I like to entertain people. My whole thing is the feeling I get from entertaining people. And yes, you can do that in an original band, but it's going to be so much easier in a cover band if you're good at doing the covers.
Yeah.
And the venues are only going to book what makes them money.
Yeah. Exactly.
No cover band is taking a gig out of the pocket of an original act. We are not actively going out there and trying to take a venue away. Well, we can play Mustang Sally and you're playing, your prog rock, original tune that goes on for 37 minutes. And I'm going to tell the club that that's a waste of their money. But that's not what we're doing. We don't pursue places to take gigs from other musicians. We may be in healthy competition with other cover bands, but that's on the venue.
Yeah.
They make that choice and scheduling and things. There's all kinds of business involved. But for an original act to say that cover guys are A, talentless, and B, taking their gigs is false, and it's an ego problem.
Exactly.
That's a self-worth or insecurity problem and an ego problem. And that's all that is. I'm not trying to psychoanalyze it. I'm not a professional, but let's be honest. If you're worried about what some guys down at the local VFW are doing, or that, you're playing 5 doors down at some, hole in the wall or club that only, not even a hole in the wall, club that only caters to original music.
Yeah.
We all go to those. I mean, and you're worried they're taking your people. They're not. They're taking the people that don't want to be at your show to begin with.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you couldn't win some of those people over, depending on the music. But if I'm average musician or average consumer, and I walk up and there's two doors and one says, original metal night, and one says, hard rock and metal covers like Fell From Zero does.
Yeah.
I'm probably not going to go to the original side first if I'm just looking to be entertained.
Yeah.
For me, if I go see a live original show, it's because I'm there to see another band I like, and then I can check out new music, or I've gotten into that band online somewhere and I seek out their show actively to see their original music. I'm not just going out to a club to discover original music. That's certainly happened. And not just as, oh, this opener was awesome, I never heard of them. I've been somewhere and we're like, oh, there's a band playing. Oh, they're playing their own stuff. This is good. But it's very rare for me. I'm not saying that's for everything, but for the average music consumer, they aren't looking at who's better or worse. Oh, is this cover band worse than this original band? Or they're not. They're just not. I can guarantee you that 100%. And there's a whole subset of that. Well, then what about a tribute band versus a cover band? I mean, a tribute band is in essence just a cover band that plays the same band all night.
It's a specific cover band.
And yeah, sometimes there's a look or, there's a theatrics to it, but there's also cover bands out there who do a theatric thing based on the genre they're playing. There's hair metal cover bands that play all the hair metal, but they dress up in the
I've seen that. There's a tribute band, I forget their name, that I just saw recently that they go through like all the eras of rock. They dress like they do in 80s where they dress like Axl, a chunk of it where they dress like Alice Cooper, which is where I discovered it. They dress like Rob Halford, but it's throughout the whole show. So
right. Yeah. I mean, there's different subsets of cover, but the baseline of that is saying that somehow original guys are more talented than cover guys. To be honest with you, I would be willing to bet 75% of the bands, at least in our regional area, are probably cover bands with originals.
Yeah.
Those guys write their own, but they're, those fantastic original musicians also play covers so they can play out and make a living.
Absolutely.
Or at least do it for a hobby like we do.
Yeah.
So I think it's honestly a pretty stupid argument that you're never going to hear the cover band guys start this argument.
Yeah.
You're never going to hear a cover band successful or even mildly successful, whatever, just guys having a good time on every other weekend or once a month.
Yeah.
They're never going to say we're better than original bands. And I'm glad we're taking their gigs. Like, that's never coming from that side of it.
Yeah.
And the original guys that bring that argument up know it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry if you're listening, you're one of those guys, you're all mad at me now. That's just the way it is. And that's my opinion. Sorry, it's my show. It's our show. We'll say what we want. But again, as the consumer, I want to be entertained.
Yeah.
I'll buy a ticket for a Beartooth concert. Because I want to see Beartooth, and there might be 2 or 3 other bands in there I've never heard or I've only heard online. I'm going to that show because I want to go to that show.
Yeah.
But on the weekends, if I'm not playing, wonder who's playing somewhere local that I can go hear songs I like, stand in the back of my arms folded like all musicians do at my age, or see my friends play.
Yeah.
Covers. If they're playing originals, awesome too.
Yeah.
Like, I do have friends that have original songs that I like to hear.
Yeah.
But I don't get to go see them because I'm gigging, I'm working.
Yeah.
I just think it's kind of a double-sided coin here. Heads you win, tails I lose kind of thing. If you want to play out for people, if you want to be seen and have a good time and entertain people, then you play covers. Simple as that. If you can do those things in your original band, awesome, I'm jealous, but also that means you're probably playing much bigger places than I am. That means you're, at a level of playing big rooms and arenas because you're entertaining everyone with your original songs.
Yeah.
So then that's two totally different things. That's saying, yes, I agree. Bon Jovi is a better band than my cover band.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry if I took any of your gigs, John. I didn't because he got himself to that list. Also, and this is my last point about this that I add on to this conversation whenever it comes up. I would 100% I will fight somebody over this. Fisticuffs, my good man. None of the bands you are listening to right now started out writing their own music and never played someone else's song. They didn't learn their instrument on their own music. They didn't noodle around and write a symphony. They learned you go to lessons or you learn at home on someone else's songs that you like because you want to play like that. Everybody played covers at some point in their career. Even the big guys started out with covers. There's guys famously like Metallica and stuff that did whole cover albums.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, they used to throw a cover or two in their garage sets to entertain people.
Yeah.
And then they went back and re-recorded those songs that they got known for covering of someone else's. Everybody does it. There are bands like Limp Bizkit who, love them or hate them, whatever, I mean, what they've done or haven't done or ruined or haven't ruined, whatever your opinion is, they are known because of a cover, which is arguably better than the original cover.
Yeah.
If you're into the genre that they do, you know, that new metal and metal type stuff and the rap, they did a better version. There are bands that are better at covers to me than they are at their original music. Those who shall not be named, Five Finger Death Punch. I do not like Five Finger Death Punch. Has been very well established. All but one for me. Every cover they've ever released is spot on. Like, that's how you do a cover. Their cover of Bad Company, that's how you should do a cover. That's how you should do it. There are people that don't like their cover of Mama Said Knock You Out by LL Cool J. I happen to think it's awesome because I like the original. And we did a whole episode on covers way back. Yeah. But there are people that do it right. Disturbed has done 50% of their covers are banging. The later ones, Sound of Silence is a whole separate. I think that's just David Draymond, and they put it on an album.
Yeah.
But I think you can't pretend that original music is somehow this, you know, sainted goat, you know, that is above all else when it comes to covers, when the guys that you look up to that wrote whatever it is you like, that got you into writing music and you want to be that band. You know, I always got this argument a lot of times with like hardcore guys and punk rock guys. Yep. And the real extreme metal guys. They're like, oh, fuck you and your cover band and your guys are shit. And okay, I'm still guaranteeing your guys like something. Like whatever hardcore band you like that you were growing up on, they like somebody from the 80s that they played their songs until they wrote their own. It shouldn't be a us versus them.
Yeah.
It will always be us versus them.
Oh yeah.
I think it's less than it used to be, but it's never going to die.
Yeah.
But that's my opinion of it.
No, I fully agree with you. It's just, they're two separate entities when it comes to the live music scene. Is, you know, there's a place for each of you. And like I said at the beginning of the conversation, like metal bands are not going to want to play the same places that cover bands are at. Case in point, Ghostlight it, you know, New Holland Legion flip that. Lisdexia would not get the same kind of reaction or crowd that Ghostlight Radio Show would at a New Holland Legion or
Hollywood Casino
or Red Pin or Burning Bridge.
Yep.
So in that same breath, though, Ghostlight Radio Show would not go over with the same crowd that Lisdexia would at a place like Capital City Music Hall, Reverb, HMAC.
Right.
That there's places for everybody in the music scene. You just got to find them.
Yep. You got to be willing to find them instead of complaining that someone's doing better than you or playing more than you because they're playing covers and you're not. And that's really what it comes down to.
I will say, original bands, if you want to play gigs as frequent as cover bands, find your gigs. Put in the work to find your gigs. Just like how cover bands did. Every cover band has a starting point to get their first gig, and then that first gig gets them their second gig. Just like how original bands got to do the same thing. Everybody's got to put in their fair share of work and not let their egos or jealousy get in the way to be like, well, you know, they're playing here. They're playing three shows in a month and we're playing one every 6.
Well, to be fair, I agree with that because you're talking to a guy who spent the first third of his first year in a band opening for people without ever headlining a gig.
Yeah.
And we did it all the time. You know, we put the work in. We were terrible musicians, so we had to get better somehow, but not the point. You did say though, you got to put the work in and put the ego away and that we're talking musicians, especially guys writing their own music, as you're one of them. I've done it. There is a bit of ego that has to be involved in that. And I'm not saying that as a negative. If you're not at least into what you're doing, then what are you doing it for?
Right.
But expecting musicians in that genre or that world to put their ego away and just play nice to everyone, that might happen, but
that's wishful thinking.
It's not. Yeah. It's never going to be 100% because we can't live in a world where everybody can play nice and get along, much less in the music world. So we'll always be in an impasse with this. But it's just something that comes up every so often, every couple of years. I see a thread about this or somebody talking about it. And I just like, you know, this is something we should talk about. And I think we have listeners who may have never thought about that.
Yeah.
And I would love to hear anybody's opinion on this. Anybody that wants to talk about it, please message us, you know, send us a message or comment on our Facebook page or the comments on this video when it goes up.
I was going to say, even on Spotify now, people can leave comments on Spotify. If you're listening on Spotify, leave a comment down below. Let us know your opinions, whether it's long or, just to say, fuck you or whatever you want to,
Yep.
let your opinions be heard on this topic.
But understand that we bring this up because it's a topic that actually does mean something in our industry. And there are two people at this table who have been on very different sides. Well, you're in both sides of it now.
Yeah.
But I've been on both sides of that table, mostly on the cover side. And I've, again, been in this argument for years, more or less, this discussion. I don't want to call it's not an argument. I'm not young enough to be arguing about this. You do your thing, I'll do my thing if that's what we got to do. But it'd be better if we could all work together.
Yeah.
But to assume that we're all against each other because you're on one side of it, writing original stuff and saying, well, those cover guys are ruining our chances.
Yeah.
Have a discussion with us. Maybe we can tell you what we did to get to places. Just because we're playing cover bars doesn't mean there's not somebody, we don't know someone. You don't know that someone in that cover band didn't do what you did and moved on to covers.
Yeah.
How about we help each other up instead of knocking each other down?
Right. Exactly.
That would be my thing. Yeah. Lots of
lots of
guitars.
motion.
Yeah. That's all right.
But also, side note, can we point out this guitar?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
For the people that are watching?
Well, let's, before we get too into Jake stroking his own ego, if that's all he strokes, I don't have much else to say on that, really. I said my piece now twice, once online and once here, which now will be online, full circle. And I think you made a lot of good points for someone who's probably never had this discussion before.
No.
So it exists.
I've had arguments with people about this topic, but have never been like, this is the first time I've really been able to just kind of been like, this is how I see it. And I don't have to justify it because this is how I feel and this is our show and I can say whatever I want.
Well, and I agree. And I understand at least one situation you were in with that.
Yeah.
I understand bands that are original bands that do not want to play covers, don't even want to write covers in their style.
Right.
Good if that's what you want to do. But don't take it out on cover bands because you're unwilling to do the work or find a way or work around for it. So again, I don't want to, this could turn into a very long conversation. It doesn't need to be because it's going to keep repeating its point, but it is something I thought this is a show we should address. We are kind of music first.
Yeah.
And I think that's what
music is what started the show and
it will always carry the show. And sometimes last year we got
all over the
place, but it always comes back to music. And this is a hot button to push, even if it's not always in the front. So I hope this brings about this discussion, and this will be something we bring up to everybody we run as a guest. So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Have a seat right there. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
So, so that's, I think that wraps that up pretty good.
Yeah.
It can always be revisited when we get some comments on it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So now what Jake's pointing on the video behind us here is my older than old Fender Squire Bullet Strat. One of those $100 back in it. Mid-2000s that I don't even know how I got it. I believe I got it as a trade or something. I didn't pay for it in any way. It was some kind of trade-off, and it just sat. It's actually a really fun little guitar to play.
It is a nice guitar.
But I had changed it out. I changed the loaded pick guard out from single coils because I hate them to a pair of humbuckers years ago. All stuff that I just wanted to do to see if I could do it. Recently, just in the last, couple months, really. Last 3-4 months, Jake and I kept noticing more and more cell shaded stuff. The art style that you see on a lot of, it's hyper stylized now. The video game Borderlands is really well known for it. Cell shading is technically the animation style where you see
comic book
animation style where you see more distinct outer lines or striking accent lines. And I've seen a lot of guitars and things being done online. Jake did a pair of shoes.
Yep.
And I just wanted to have this done for the sake of having it done. And Jake's like, I'll try it. And this became basically his Christmas present to me. And if you could see it, it's beautiful. And there's some pictures up on my personal page. But I actually took it out to a show 2 weeks ago, played it out.
Yeah,
I just wanted to play it out once in front of everybody and then put it back on the wall here. And this is now our centerpiece here in the new studio setup. So fantastic job. And it was just, it was a fun project to put out there and a fun project to watch you do.
Not even to stroke my own ego, but that did get really cool.
Yes, it certainly did. It really did. I did a little clear coating on it real quick so it wouldn't flake off on me while I was playing it. Although in the right angle now you can see all my pick scrapes.
That's why I moved over here. I can see it up here.
You can see wherever my hand went across it, which is fine. It got used, and that's cool.
That's cool though. I do. Yeah, that got really cool.
Stop the sway.
I was gonna say stop.
There's a lot of sway. So yeah. So we were talking about earlier about what we got coming up and what we want to do with the show. We are definitely going to, again, increase some guests. I don't want to put any names out because there's only a couple for sure that we can say, and I don't want to ruin it. But I do believe one that we haven't even talked to him yet, but we're going to blow him up here is our fellow bandmate, Ken Newcomb. Ken is currently in a couple projects. He always is, like the rest of us, just not as often as we do.
Yeah.
He is in a band that's called The Turning Hand. They are basically like stoner doom rock kind of stuff.
Yeah.
All original. I have a couple other friends in that band. The singer Rachel, who's also my dog groomer. Shout out to Mahalo Dog Groomer. And I've known their guitar player Shane for almost as long as I've been playing. Their other guitar player Sumo is one of my best friends in the world and former bandmates. And I'm not into that genre of music at all. And I think I've mentioned them on the pod before, but they are fantastic at it.
Yeah.
The songs are good. I mean, Rachel's one of the better singers I've ever seen. And Ken, for all the grief I've given over the years about his drumming covers and forgetting stuff and just razzing him as we do, he is a fantastic drummer. And I probably don't tell him enough, but it really shows through in that band that he wrote that stuff and the passion he has for it. We, of course, occasionally still have an occasional Nailed It gig pops up somewhere where Kenny does drums, but we're also working on another project, which again, we're not ready to.
Yeah.
We got to iron some things out before we make it official. We need to know that it's going to be a thing before we, but Ken's going to be drumming in that project as well. And I think Kenny's probably going to be our first guest if we can work it out this year. And of course, down the road here, we got the CPMAs coming up. We did not get nominated this year, as we discussed last episode. A lot of competition. It's fine. We did, however, get nominated for Best Cover Band for Ghostlight Radio Show. They just finished up a week ago or so. The fan portion of the
fan voting
is done. And that's only a small portion of the overall vote. But I know a lot of people told me they voted and really put it out. And we did our best to let everybody know about it and give them the link. So big shout out to anybody who supported the band through that and supported us in the podcast as a part of that. We do appreciate it. And, win or lose, we're going to be there. Jake and I will be there. Rich will be there as well. Jimmy.
Is Jimmy going?
I believe Jimmy did say he is going. I'm not sure about Dave, but he generally goes to nothing.
I was going to say, yeah, so all of Ghostlight will be there, but Dave. That sounds about right.
But on top of that, Jake and I are planning on doing a little podcasting from that event. We're going to try
live from the CPMAs.
We're going to try and do some video interviews, some quick interviews with some of the musicians, because where else are we going to get a chance with that many people around?
Yeah.
Some former winners, maybe some people that are up for stuff, some friends of ours that we never had on the pod.
Yeah.
Just try and talk to some people and put an episode together later on, and probably mostly be a video clip episode.
Yeah.
We'll bookend it by talking here in the studio. But so that's coming up in March. So there's stuff coming and some good guests and some great stuff. And we also, as I pointed out on Facebook today, we'd like to start implementing a question and answer phase.
Yes.
Where if you have a question about things like that, like the cover band versus original, or just things you don't know, or you're like, hey, I see when you guys are at a show, you do this, and I never understood that. I'm not a musician. Why do you guys do it this way? Why do you show up so early? Anything like that, send it to us and we'll read them off and answer them. The best ones that come through that we can answer, we'll answer on the show each time we do it. Maybe the ones we don't get to on the show, we'll just answer online.
Yeah.
But we'll post with, hey, here's the other part of this or this might be the, where we get into some mini episodes where we have to finish answering questions. So we'll see how it goes. Hopefully you guys, we like to be a little interactive with the people that are taking the time to listen to us and enjoy what we're doing as much as we enjoy doing it. So
yeah, we love to interact with the people that do watch the show or listen to the show. So we want to have this little new segment to interact with you guys and just kind of something new for the show.
Right. Because you always got to grow, or you can't get better if you don't grow and learn. And same goes for playing an instrument as much as it does doing this podcast. So
you either die a hero or you live long enough to see yourself do a podcast.
I thought that was going somewhere else. I was going to say become Joe Rogan. Anyway, I'm successful. You don't have to like it, but man. If there's a podcast blueprint, it's probably Rogan. Anyway,
pull it up, Jamie. He says,
"So yeah, I know." So that's what we got coming for 2026 and season 4 here at the Nailed It podcast, coming to you live via recording from Den Mother Studios.
Yeah. I'm glad we were able to do the first episode together
in the frozen tundra wasteland of York, Pennsylvania.
Yep. Yeah. Because we were initially we were talking about doing this remote for the first episode because I had a work trip to go to, but thankfully.
No, it's always more enjoyable if we can do it face to face here and be in the same room. And honestly, you would only seen the remodel here in pictures. So I really want you to be here and see it. If anybody else can appreciate it besides me, it's definitely you.
Oh yeah. I love it.
So we definitely got a lot coming down the pike here. And I'm excited to get to the stuff that we've been trying to do and our lives got in the way and slowed us down. And I think we know what we want to do.
Oh yeah.
We're going to keep doing it. Awards show be damned. And I don't mean that in a bad way, CPMAs. I didn't mean that way. We took ourselves out of the running by straying off the path of what music is And I'm not saying what we're catering to get back on the ballot by any means.
Yeah.
But it did, as I told you earlier, kind of lit a fire under me that I thought we started this and we probably got those 2 noms because we spent a lot of time talking about the music industry and our local music industry and what we do. And although I do like to stray because we have a lot of interests, we're big nerds and we have a lot of interests. I think that our whole point was because we were 2 musicians and friends who play in bands together. Why aren't we talking about that stuff? And there's lots of other people who have a lot of viewpoints out there. So we're going to get there. We're getting there. So, but other than that, I think that probably wraps up our first show of the first of the season. So
I think so.
Season 4, episode 1 is here soon. We're recording it. I will get it on the air within the next couple of days or so. Not like I can be outside hanging out.
Yeah.
It's like 3 degrees outside right now. And that's not even an exaggeration. I believe it's single digits right now. And it is only, it's not even like late evening yet. So,
yeah.
But other than that, look for us online, of course, Nailed It the Pod on Facebook, and we are on TikTok. You can, of course, find me on all the socials. Pickle Shot Bob. You look me up, you'll find me. TikTok, and I think that's my Instagram handle now. It might just still be that Bob Patterson on Facebook. I forget. You can find me. Of course, Jake's got 17 different Instas and names out there.
Yeah, you can find me on you can find my regular stuff going for Instagram. It is I want to say it's just Jake Scholl 13, I think. I don't remember. Same as Facebook. You can find me at Jake Scholl. You find us Nailed It Podcast on Facebook, Instagram. If you want to keep track of my ring announcing for 3 Legacies Wrestling and, potential other independent wrestling organizations. If you guys are out there listening, I'm always open to shows. You can find me at JackRocket_3LW. Once again, that's ROCKIT _13 on Instagram. You can find me at Jack Rocket on Facebook, spelled the same way, ROCKIT. Check out 3 Legacies Wrestling. We have shows coming up every month. We have shows coming up. You can find out dates and get tickets at 3LWTIX.com. Once again, that's 3LWTIX.com, TIX. I always have to specify. But yeah, you can find me anywhere there. And Instagram, I think it's, or not Instagram, TikTok, I think it's still just Rocket Man, ROCKITMAN. I think that's what my TikTok handle is. I don't know.
That was a huge information dump, buddy.
It really is.
Just look for us on the socials.
I'm going to start writing all this down and just, list them all off.
Very professional. Show notes? Very professional.
Yeah.
So, well, with that being said, I don't have a whole lot to promote. We're off in Ghostlight till February 27th, and we're back at Red Pin.
Yep.
I got a solo gig coming up and a dual gig with Dave, but all that's over almost a month away, some of those. Other than a chili cook-off I'm entering this weekend at the Victory Athletic Association for first time ever. I make a good chili, never enter a competition. Going to see how it goes. I'd like to shout out if anybody hears this before the end of the week and you need something to do on Saturday. If you can't make Jake's Wrestling, if you're in the York area, you're not leaving the York area like old people like me, because I got to prepare some chili for part of the day. Hank the Buffalo is playing at Victory Athletic Club. And Hank the Buffalo, if you've never seen that trio, is amazing and totally worth your time. And don't worry about getting in. We'll make sure anybody non-members get in for the show. It's definitely worth it. Open to the public. So
shout out to Hank the Buffalo.
So other than that, I'm good to go. You got anything else?
I'm good here.
All right. So as always, I am Bob.
And I am Jake.
This has been Nailed It the Podcast. We'll see you guys next episode. Stay safe.
See you.
Nailed it.
100% I will fight somebody over this. Fisticuffs, my good man.